sidetracked just for a minute. I want to try to see if I could talk about a book or excerpts from a book that I have put together called Integrated Principles, Standard Philosophical Therapeutic Thoughts of Expression. Boom. It's a lot there. It's just integrated thoughts of my own as well as others. It's considered to be my sacred book. My sacred book. There are 9 chapters, if you may say, in this book, and is written in a manner, in a way which is considered to be sacred to me. The first chapter deals with purpose. It is the shortest chapter of the book. And the second one is rules of engagement. Then the other one's be aware of unhealthy virtues. The fourth chapter is the potential pursuit. The fifth takes on the name of the book, Integrated Therapeutic Thoughts of Expressions. The sixth is the 5-star approach. 7 is the pledge. And 8 is Greek philosophical expressions. And 9, how do I change my reality? If you read chapter 1, Purpose, it is a quote in there by Imam Muhammad. Chapter 1. Happiness is the joy that you feel when you are in pursuit of your potential. Then I go on and say, it represents the totality of your entire well-being. Well-being, happiness, well-beingness. The prefix, the suffix of the word ness is state, quality, or being. Nest could represent something that is, you are in a nest. Could be a place of safety and secure. Then again, if the nest, the feathers turn into sticks, when the eaglet is in the nest, it makes the eaglet becomes uncomfortable. If I'm using the term incorrect or correctly or not, I mean it's time to go. It's time to go. Uncomfortability, if you look at biologically, that when the child is in the mother's stomach, it becomes uncomfortable, that and living arrangement become insufficient, so it has to come out, because when there is uncomfortable, it means there's growth, and without connection there is no growth. So when the quote by Imam Muhammad, happiness is the joy that you feel when you are in pursuit of your potential. It represents the totality of your entire well-being, transitioning from sympathy to empathy. And when we don't transition from sympathy to empathy, we be dealing with what we call a apathetic spirit. But yes, you will fight against reflecting callousness and carelessness. It is the potential to do and the power to be. That's called justice. Chapter 1 represents guidance. Chapter 2, rules of engagement. It's something, some of these are not my ideas or concepts. I just took from it and added to it. Verse 1 in chapter 2. Before the eyes can see, they must temporarily be incapable of tears and emotions. Too much emotion without enough logic. They must get out of the way to hear the truth. For me, truth is the cause that impacts and affects the results of one's reality. The logic and the emotion, they must be balanced and overcome the hurt, the pain, the stress. When there is balance, understanding speaks clearly. In out of understanding comes what? Consciousness, aware. Another thing that Imam Muhammad said, that nature comes to awaken our consciousness. As a result, you are aware, and awareness is the beginning of time. For me, awareness is the beginning of time. Some women say it's the beginning of change. The only thing that unites us is time. The first step toward change is awareness, and change is a product of human effort, and that effort must be synthesized as a youthful purpose. Chapter 2, verse 1 of the book that I have written, Integrated Standards, Philosophical Therapeutic Thoughts of Expression. Verse 2 in Chapter 2, Rules of Engagement. Before you can hear, you must temporarily lose your sensitivity and be coherent as it pertains to your temperament. When inspiration comes down, I'm adding to that. Aspiration, when inspiration comes down, once aspiration goes up, when they meet, is the highest form of sensitivity. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. Nothing. Because we all made up of senses. Verse 3. Before the voice can speak in one another's presence, it must have lost the power to wound. Knowing when there is balance, understanding speaks clearly. You see that in there the second time, as it pertains to the voice of reason. Learning to reason from the premise of conversation and with progression. The struggle is progression versus regression and common sense versus nonsense. Overcoming being mentally incapacitated, because royalty is real as it pertains to how we treat each other. That was verse 3 of chapter 2, Rules of Engagement. Verse 4. Before the soul can stand on its own merit of honor, dignity, and integrity in the presence of one another, its feet must be washed in cleansing of the heart and spirit. At the heart of the intellect, when knowledge is implied, it becomes intelligence. Let's go to the heart of the matter. The soul is an investment called life. The nature of one's intelligence is to be curious, considerate, thoughtful, kind, generous, loving, caring, and focus on the best results, because acquiring minds want to what? Want to know. You heard of that statement. Chapter 2, Rules of Engagement, verse 5. Before progress can be pursued, the mind must constantly be emptied and renewed daily, resulting in a message of transformative power. Yes. Verse 6. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding. It is said that the worst distance, or the greatest distance between two people, is a misunderstanding. Sadness and drama with just this one disagreement. Or if you agree with this, you can completely transform your life. Verse 7. Always do your best. Your best will change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. under any circumstances. Do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and neglect, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Once again, not taking pleasure is someone else's pain and misery as well as your own. Verse 8, attract what you expect. You heard this before. It's a quote. To attract what you expect, to reflect what you desire, become what you respect, mirror what you admire. This will result in a higher state of what? Of consciousness. So this verse is dealing with a higher state of consciousness. When you attract what you expect, to reflect that what you desire, become what you respect. You know, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson says that people don't respect themselves, they won't defend themselves. I may be paraphrasing what she said, but yes. Verse 9 of chapter 2. The law of averages is aware that our inner conversations are the causes of the circumstances of life. Circumstances makes us other than ourselves in proportion according to size, amount, and degree, as it pertains to the actual connection of relationship with self and others. Without connection, there is no growth, and maturity will result in without connection, there is no growth, and maturity will result in what? In a mutiny. This deals with the law of probability. Chapter 2, rules of engagement. Chapter 1, the purpose is the guidance. The power, that's justice. It is the potential to do and the power to be, that's justice. Warning, dealing with the rules of engagement. Chapter 2. Chapter 3 is the guidance. You have heard this before. Be aware of unhealthy human virtues. Dealing with virtues. We're going to deal with wealth, pleasure, knowledge, business, science, religion, and politics. Wealth without work, chapter 3. Beware of unhealthy human virtues. Wealth without work. One must come to know that mental labor precedes physical labor, resulting in accomplishments and limitations. We all have limitations. Remember, mental labor precedes physical labor. Don't be too extreme. Pleasure. Without conscious or responsibility will result in recidivism, lack of accountability, and social and moral cultural decline. We all want the pleasure, but some may not want the responsibility that comes with the pleasure. Knowledge without character will result in lack of discipline, disoriented, inhumane behavior of extreme acts of violence. Notice you hear the word without consistently. Number 5, a business. Four is business. Business without ethics will result in a race fallacy. Confused, contaminated, corrupted lifestyle of consuming more than what is needed. The square teaches us not to take more than what is needed. Justice. Science without humanity will result in extreme selfishness of exclusivity. Without inclusion, we will see each other as intruders, which is also unacademic, unscholarly, illiterate, and uncivilized. Religion without sacrifice is like interest without investment. It will result in a lethargic state, wandering in the wild without guidance, sacrificing the wrong for the right, and accepting the fact that you can do wrong right without a conscious awareness to change. 7, politics without principle will result in the symbolism of power, becoming a justified polity to do wrong to others by way of fraudulent behavior, which will produce unnecessary fatalities. I have just read out of the 9 chapters from the book that I have with a sacred book of mine, Integrated Principles and Standards, Philosophical Therapeutic Thoughts of Expression. Chapter 1 was Purpose. Chapter 2 was Rules of Engagement. Chapter 3 was Be Aware of Unhealthy Virtues. Reverend Wadamu Kevin teaches of teachers, preachers of preachers when it comes to reverence from the heart. The mission is to promote the value of self-worth. The mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all. The motto is to communicate through 5.5 channels of communication: understanding, tolerance, temperance/temperament, confidence, and respect. To approach is 5-star approach: progressive, universal, holistic, comprehensive, and conscientious. The end result is to restore social credibility, to readdress social diversity, to revive social coherency, to replenish social continuity, and finally, to reclaim social solidarity. All that I share is about a social construct. Through self-introspection, because that's where the journey begins. And may I myself, and if there are any others, overcome SDLD, a social disorder learning disability. Until next time, talk to you.